You're listening to the Luv Radio Network worldwide. LuvRadioNetwork.com. Educational, inspirational, trending topics, and the hottest hits. With award-winning talk show hosts and personalities. And you made us number one. Thank you. Luv Radio Network. Building a network of love.
It's Ladies Night, each and every Thursday on LuvRadioNetwork.com. Tune in at 7 o'clock with Kimberly Renee for her show, Kiss of Life. At 7:30, Symone with A Single Woman's Love. 8 o'clock p.m., Tonja Maynard with Naturally Me, Naturally Free. Then at 8:30, it's the Gospel Express with Nina Taylor. Join us each and every Thursday for Ladies Night on LuvRadioNetwork.com. My goodness. Hello, everybody. Happy Wednesday to you and yours. Welcome to all of your friends and families and guests to A Single Woman's Love's Couch Chronicles. I am your worldwide radio host personality, Symone, and I'm thanking you for tuning in to share your time with me tonight. It is a great day to be empowered and to enjoy your journey right from your own homes and especially from your couch. Get a glass of whatever you like. Sit down. Enjoy the nuances of a woman and man's perspective on life, love, friends, dating, generational issues and curses, and plus every topic in between. Now, if you are new to Couch Chronicles, we are all here to say welcome, and thank you for tuning in and enjoy the show. Now, if you're a reoccurring or dedicated Couch Chronicle fan, thank you so much for your dedication, your time, and for being a ride or die Couch Chronicle baby. That's what I'm talking about. Now, call or text your friends and family to come on in and join us by logging on to Luv Radio, it's L-U-V, Radio Network altogether.com, and press the live button for the show for Couch Chronicles. And if you're not interested or you just want to listen in and tune in, we've got two numbers in which you can do that. The first one is 563-999-3519 and press 1. That number again is 563-999-3519 and press 1. We also have an alternate number in which you can call and listen, and that is 727-731-5250. Again, that's 727-731-5250. So come on in. It's easy to sit on the couch and sit back for a wonderful and sometimes very grown show. Remember, you can connect with me on Facebook and Instagram at Symone Hurt. That's Symone. Last name is Hurt. Go ahead and send me a friend request, and I'll be loving to happily send you a befriend back so that we can be part of the Couch Chronicle parties. And you'll stay tuned for all the new things that are coming forward. Now, praying everyone is well today. Our topic is a very fun topic. It's very light. We're going to keep it light today. Just coming off vacation. I just need to kind of slide back into the groove here. And would love for everyone who can to actually call in and press 1 to get in on conversation tonight. We just want to keep it light and fun. So let us know whether you are actually repping the 70's, are you repping the 80's, you repping the 90's, or yes, 2000 babies. Now, we're going to talk about whatever tonight for each era and would love to hear your opinion or comments. Hopefully, you'll be intrigued, have some fun, laugh, and have some good old memories, and most importantly, open your eyes to seeing things in a different or new light. Now, make sure you text all your family tonight. Now, text them the number or Luv Radio, that's Luv Radio Network.com, and it will send them a link to get right on into the action. Some of y'all are part of groups. You know, you can get them to do a group chat, group text them, invite them to come on in, listen, and enjoy the show from the couch. Because tonight, we're all family, and you know what happens when family gets together and have some fun. So come on, grab your drink, nestle in. Don't pull that Afghan or blanket up too far, because it's going to get hot in here tonight. So lean in and learn something new and enjoy the ride. Now, okay, let's welcome to the mic our two co-hosts that just keep me sane, y'all. I don't know what I could do without these sisters. I'm just trying to tell you. We got Miss Tonja Dew, our multiple sclerosis coach and motivator, along with Miss Kim Hamilton. She is our behavioral and everything specialist, our go-to girl. So thank you. Welcome to the couch, ladies. How's everyone doing tonight?
Well, good evening. Doing well. Happy Wednesday. I'm good.
Yes, amen. I love it. The girls are on point today. This is going to be great. Now, let's start by, as always, thank you for being on the show. And as they say, sometimes intimacy starts with a good old conversation, so let's get to talking. Let's start by saying, I'm going to start out, y'all. The 80s was great, because I'm an 80s baby. I just wanted to start out by saying that. I know some of y'all out there are 80s and 90s babies, and you know that was the era right there. If you got the opportunity to be grown enough to drink, go out, party in the 80s and the 90s, you had a wonderful time. That's all I can say. Now,
yes, I agree.
All right, Kim, you're going to start us off tonight by answering the very first question, but what is your greatest error and why?
I was born in 65, so I started getting on the scene in the late 70s and through the 80s, and I would have to say that the 70s and the 80s were thebomb.com. For me, that was like I look back on those years now as the innocent years, the years where I really didn't know anything, the years where you think you knew it all, but you didn't know anything. And you were just free-spirited. You lived life. You had time to enjoy your friends. You had time to, we had time to be kids in a way that youngsters today do not. We were creative. We were able to go out and do things and not really worry about what was happening. I mean, all I had to do when I was younger was beat the street light home. That was it. I could be on my bike all day.
Just kick a can. What you talking about?
Yeah. Go wherever, do whatever. We didn't have cell phones. So we lived in a time where there was a different type of trust, a different type of security. As long as we beat the street light home, nobody knew where we were, really. We were out having innocent fun, doing great things. Today, it's just a different kind of, thing. So I would have to say 70s and 80s, that did it for me.
I know that's right. I understand. Because trust and believe me, when you got a whole generation that's okay with kicking a can and being happy, making their own sleds to slide down wherever they're at, and making up, we played jacks. What was it? Hopscotch. Yes.
Jump rope.
Double dutch. Double dutch.
Yeah.
There you go. So our attention, I'm saying this to bring this out, that our attentions were on each other. Everything that we had to do kind of negated a team activity. And that's going to come out a little later, I'm sure, as we talk about this. But, a 70s, 80s, and 80s babies, we needed each other to make stuff happen. And we knew how to, do that together. And so that's about that I wanted to say. But Miss Tonja, how are you, darling?
I'm doing well, my dear.
Yes. What was your favorite era?
Well, I have to agree because I was born in 64. So the 70s and 80s, I grew up with my aunts that loved music. So I listened to the Gap Band and Earth, Wind, and Fire, and then we would sit on the porch, and we played anything and everything. And like Kim was saying, we just ran the streets until the lights came on, and no one knew where we were.
We were.
And they didn't care where we were because they didn't worry about where we were because they know that people in our community would look out for us. And they knew the community was not going to harm us. So we were just out and about. We used to jump in and out of people's cars.
People we just met, hey, we need a ride. We would jump in the car. You didn't have to worry about anyone hurting you or kidnapping you or trying to, do something harmful to you. We just did anything. And then when I got older, oh, Lord Jesus, I can get out on my own, and I can go to a club, and I can work, and I can enjoy myself and do anything I want to do. Lord Jesus, did we have some fun in the 80s. The 80s was everything. That's when people just went out and enjoyed music. They enjoyed each other, and you went to parties at people's homes, and you had fun.
Basement parties.
And people gathered around all the time. If you heard someone was going to someone's house, you knew, okay, well, I got to get dressed like this because I don't know when I'm going to get home, and I might be sleeping on someone's couch. So, you just did different type of things that now you can't do those things anymore. And the kids in the 90s and 2000s, I don't know who they are. I just don't know who. I can't identify with them because their fun and our fun is not the same. Their fun is more harmful to me. See, my fun, we just enjoyed each other and just had fun. We had joy. We just truly just had joy, and we enjoyed having our joy.
Yes. And there's a particular type of freedom that I really wish that other generations would be able to participate in. 70s and 80s, that was a freedom like none other. I don't have to say sometimes it was more freer then than it is for me right now, honestly, if you want to tell the truth. That's how much things have actually changed. And it's just not, for me, it's just not safe anymore. You just, the trust, there wasn't enough trust. There's not enough people that are actually working with each other, with their best interests. Family was more family back then. And not to say that it's not now, but it's in a different way. And for people to be able to understand the types of freedom that we had and enjoyed, just being you, because we weren't monitored at all. When I say not at all, I wasn't. I don't know about everybody else, but I wasn't monitored
at all.
It was just as long as you came back by that street light, everything is good.
That's right.
People don't understand how to sit on a porch together, be in the same yard and actually talk together. Tonja and I, our grandparents' house were right next door to each other, so we would sit on the porch and just talk back and forth to each other. So if I couldn't come over your house, it was okay because we're just going to sit on the porch and talk, different things like that. So many activities. I met Kim down at the Y. Okay? So, people were more engaged. They had a different type, they flowed with a different type of freedom back then. Kim, what do you think about all that?
You're absolutely right, but I think what changed was we were forced by the times to be creative. We were forced to have interpersonal relationships. We can remember when phones became 2 ways and 3 ways. We remember when the Star Spangled Banner came on,
played on the TV.
Off.
Yes.
So, we remember
there was no late
how
night cable.
When you turned the TV on, we were the remote controls. If our parents said change the channel, we got up and changed the channel. So we lived in a time where we were interactive because circumstances mandated that. We didn't have everything. My daughter asked me one time, how could I live without 24-hour TV? That was a big deal to her. I remember when we got our first microwave oven. We have seen so much in our lifetime that the next generation was simply born into. And sometimes I think we're a little hard on them because they don't know what it was like to make fun. Everything is presented to them. To them, a great night is video games. Yeah. Texting. We didn't have social media. I remember when I looked at today's lifestyle as the Jetsons, and now we're living it.
Ain't that the truth?
So
Theory has become queen.
Life has changed. Technology has taken over things that we just didn't have, and where a lot of people see these things as, you know, progress, and yes, they are, but at the same time, it took away a lot from our society. It took away a lot from our children. They have actually greater pressure today than we ever had, because what makes a person good and decent today is different than before. I mean, we went from ultra-conservative to ultra-liberal, but at the same time, we went from ultra-value and security to ultra-status. So things are different because times have mandated, and I think somewhere along the way we got caught up in the change, and we woke up and said, what happened?
Well, I think that we were able to transition very well. Our generation has gone through so much change from behind us to in front of us. We've kind of become the jack of all trade of the eras, because we remember back then, remember when we had to get up off the sofa and go answer the phone that was in the kitchen on the wall. You know, there was none of this grabbing your phone and just sitting there talking. And it was so easy and convenient for you. There's just so many differences. But a lot of these differences made us into certain individuals that were able to be accustomed to a lot of different things. I think with the new generation, they get life a little differently than we do. Like, it took us a lot long, as much as we were interacting, it took us a lot longer to really settle down. You know, partying for us lasted like a long time. Like, we carried that as long as we could, and we couldn't party anymore. These kids today are much more focused. They're much more focused on school. They're much more focused on their dollars. You have more females that have their own home and own cars by the time they're 24 and 28, where that wasn't the case for us. We were just starting families at that particular time. So those are some of the differences. So anybody out there that wants to actually call in and get in on this conversation, we'd love to know what you're thinking. Please go ahead and give us a call and a shout out. If you're already on and you called the 563 number, just press 1. If not, it's 563-999-3519, press 1, or 727-735250. Because we'd like to see how your generation has been impacted by all the different changes that have happened. I'd especially love to have someone that's, you know, before us, because that was a different time as well when we're talking about the 40s, 50s, and the 60s. So you can enlighten our newbies out here on what actually, you know, how lucky they really have it, because that era was really much different. So I'm just happy to hear that. Hey, Tonja, what do you think as far as relationships? Because part of this conversation came about some conversations that we had about the differences in women from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, and the women from the 90s and 2000s on. Their focuses are different. We were talking about the nuances of who pampers their men the most. You know, who's more likely, a woman from the 67s, is she more likely to make her man a plate versus the girl from the 90s and the 2000s? What do you think about that?
Well, we all know that we come from a generation where we are servants, and most of the women from the 50s and 60s were definitely catering to their husbands and their boyfriends, and they were looking to get married to basically take care of a family, because that's what they did. They did it to the point where they cooked dinner, washed their clothes. I even saw my grandmother shine my grandfather's shoes. You know,
I remember that.
She took care of, you know, and what you do is you see this. So now you have your 70s, 80s. You have our parents who are the 60s children, and some of them took on some of that type of courtship that, you know, you have to date first before you interact in sexual relationships. And if you had sexual relationships prior to being married, you were called a fast woman, you know, in that era. And then, you know, they took that and brought our generation, the 70, 80 girls, and we kind of broke some of that to the point where we didn't want to wait to see if we had this awful husband that we saw so many of our women married and so miserable, and seeing so many of their husbands cheat on them. So we kind of like broke that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to wait and be miserable. So some women decided, you know, they're going to do that. And college was usually the place that women and men went bananas. You know, they just went bananas. You know, we're testing every pond and ocean we can try at this point. And so relationships, again, got a little different. And then, again, some of these men, you know, we were taking on what the man was doing more so than what the woman was doing. And then we wanted to break away from that, and we're like, I want to be my own woman. And that's when, you know, you would hear Chaka Khan go, I'm every woman. So now I'm every woman era. So now we're like, I'm not going to do what anyone's telling me because I am myself and I'm going to make me happy. So now you have women going around so empowered to the point that they're not with men, and then you're having, you know, relationships, you know, people who are gay and lesbian, now they're coming out even more. So relationships now are more upfront. Before, these were behind the door type of relationships. So now we're going in another era that we're accepting this instead of going, this is behind the door. So now you're getting into relationships that now you're questioning, okay, if I'm heterosexual, is this person the same as me? Am I questioning who I'm dating? Because now I have to question, because now they're saying people are in the closet. You know, so now you're in a relationship not sure what's going on in your relationship. So now people are questioning it. And so now people are doing more creeping, and they're doing all kinds of things. So now a relationship is not even the relationship that it started with our grandparents, our parents, and now here we are. What's going on? Now our kids are watching us, and now we have this next generation who can't go, I am every woman as a woman, because now she's too busy trying to catch a brother who can take care of her. And then, or she's so busy being independent that she's not even looking for a man. So now we got everybody out there not really in a true relationship with love. And now love just got lost in all of this. And no one's teaching anyone about you can love yourself, and you can have someone as a woman, have a man love you, and a man have a woman love you. Because now men are hating on women because now they don't trust women. You know, and women don't trust men. I hear that from my sons a lot. There you go. You know, and listen, I have boys, you know, and my son said he just made the cut. You know, he's like, I just made the cut because, man, if I had to date a woman now, I wouldn't trust her. You know, so it's, you know, so we're going through that. And so now I'm trying to ask my son in the younger generation who's in the 2000s, how are you going to date? Well, I don't really want to date. I want to date, but I don't want to date. As the younger generation goes, I just want to smash and run. Yeah. So there's no relationship. They're not even thinking about a relationship. Yeah. So it's really sad, and no one's teaching these young men and these young women that you can find love, and you can still love yourself, and you can still go after what you want to go after, but they're in another zone, like they say, the twilight zone. And I don't want to be in that zone. And I'm so, it's so unfortunate, because they go to parties and the police are always coming. They go to parties and someone is slipping them a Mickey. They can't even enjoy themselves when they go out. Yeah. They're always on guard. We were never on guard when we went out.
You ain't lying, because I know I've left my drink many a day somewhere, went to dance about 5 or 6 songs and came back.
That's right, and drank your drink.
And drank my drink, yes. So today I don't.
Now they have to hold their drink everywhere they go. It's
I don't even buy the drink
unfortunate.
now. It's just too much because there's too much to keep up with. I got to keep up with me. I got to keep up with what's going on. I do not have time to be following a drink from head to head because after you take a sip and you leave it, you can't go back to it. You can't drink it.
You can't go back to it.
Yeah.
You can't go back to it. And that's unfortunate. Wow. So they're not really having fun the way we had fun.
They have fun a different type of way. A different type of way.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, but when you really think about it, it's sad.
Well, only from certain perspectives. You know, when that's all you know, that's all you know. So you think that's the, you know, like we think that's the bomb diggity. That's cool. That's how it's supposed to be. But, you know, other than that, there are many people out there that will, you know, they've just adjusted to the way things are, pretty much. But I will say that the part that you said about our sons, you know, I have two. And it's really sad for me to, you know, because, I mean, like, you guys ain't going hanging with you know, back in our day, the girls hang with the guys. And it wasn't about trying to get with each other. It wasn't about trying to have sex. We had dance-offs. We literally had conversations. We literally sat and talked, you know. And nowadays,
you have platonic relationships. They don't know how to have those.
Yeah, okay. Well, Kim, I'm going to ask you to come on in here with the female perspective because I don't have any girls. So can you share a little light on maybe what you and your daughter talk about from the female perspective on that?
From the female perspective, my daughter is actually in a very healthy relationship and is getting married next year. But I did have to teach her. But I had to teach her how to be in a relationship because I remember when she was in high school, she was dating this guy, and she came home. They had had a disagreement. And when I, you know, asked her about it, she said, he's upset because I'm having a bad day and I don't want to talk about it. And he can't understand why I don't want to process my feelings. I just don't want to talk about it. So I said, well, you have to realize that he lives with both of his parents, and he's probably used to seeing them talk, you know, through things or collaborate with each other. I said, and so he's trying to do that with you. And she said, well, he has to understand that I live with just my mother, and I'm used to her figuring it all out by herself. And she being my only child, she has siblings with her dad, but she's my only child. So she was exposed to a lot of adult things as a child because, you know, I spent a lot of time with her. She was always tagging along with me to my social organizations and things like that. So she was mature in a way that some other kids wouldn't be because she was always in adult situations. Even though she had her own life, you know, I kept her busy. But she saw a lot, and I taught her a lot. So when it became time for her to get involved with somebody, her mindset was, you know, if you do it my way, or we don't have to do this at all. And I had to teach her. Yeah, you know about that. But I had to teach her that relationships do not work like that. And I told her, you know, I don't want you to be so independent and so single-minded that you're unable to share yourself with someone who's worthy of what you have to offer. So the guy that she is marrying, the first 2 years were really rough for each of them. He was the youngest of 7. She's the only of mine. And then, you know, she's the middle with her dad. So she's used to being able to do things the way she wants or to manipulate a situation to her advantage. You know how that only child syndrome is.
Oh, I surely do.
And so I had to teach her. And I don't think that it was about time as much as it was circumstance. She saw my mother as a single person who was able to handle things. My grandmother, she was raised around women who held it down. So she didn't really have an example of what a healthy heterosexual relationship looked like because she just saw a bunch of single women getting it done. So I had to teach her how to have this healthy relationship. And so they're doing fine now, but it was a process. But I think that overall, we went from don't do everything for your man to do nothing for him. And we have to realize that
there you go.
Fixing your husband's plate is not a sign of weakness.
It is not. No, it isn't. And what we're going to do is we're going to come back on that. We're going to go pay some bills, and we're going to come back on that, and we're going to talk about how all of this is affecting the men. So we've already talked about the women's side. We're going to come back with the men's side in about 3 minutes. 2 to 3 minutes. Go ahead, refill them drinks, y'all. Come on back or give us a call. Thank you, and we'll see you in a minute.
Last time that I checked, last election, America stood as a nation divided. And as a result, America became a nation under the racist regime and dictatorship of a tyrant. Yeah, we know all about the politics. We know about the voter suppression and the poll tampering. We know about every tactic that they use to discourage minorities into believing that they have no voice. There's a reason why they don't want your voice to be heard. And that's exactly why we vote. We take our voice, we take our vote, and we take our unity, and we take back our future. And not just for president, from the judges to the school board to the police chief. We, the people, will decide upon the decision makers who are committed to the people, and not this capitalistic administration set on destroying the very fabric of our society. One vote, one voice. It's that simple, because united we stand, or divided we fall.
Symone Hurt presents A Single Woman's Love, Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, improving knowledge and communications through interactions and relationship building. Assist businesses and individuals to evolve to become better self-aware while building stronger relationships. Join Symone Hurt Thursdays for A Single Woman's Love, 7:30 p.m. on LuvRadioNetwork.com.
Hey, everybody. We are back. Okay. Now, we want to sit down and talk about how this has actually affected the men, because the men have actually, I think, are more affected than the females, just my personal opinion. And in the meantime, while we're doing that, come on, y'all, I need some millennials to give us a call. If you're between the ages of 26 and 40 years old, call in here. Give your own perspective, honey. Make sure you're repping for your generation. We'd love to hear from you. 563-999-3519 and press 1, and you'll be in the green room to talk to us. But as we're going on and waiting for that to happen, I think the poor men, I never thought I'd say that a day in my life. Poor men. Times have changed. They have really changed. Lord have mercy. They are really catching the raw deal of this. They have women too independent that don't need them. Then they got women who don't have time for them. And then you got women who don't know how to be in relationships. As a man, I don't think I'd understand or figure out. I wouldn't even know how to maneuver through all of that, because it's not like you had platonic relationships the whole entire time. Most millennials are really focused and really into themselves, is what I want to say. And then it's been not to a bad detriment. It's been for good, especially for the women. I must say, I only have 3 nieces. And mind you, I have 10 nephews. 10 nephews, 3 nieces, and all my cousins are males except for 2. And the females, they got it going on. They, if they don't never get married, I don't think they would give a hoot and a Annie or care less, because they already got it going on for themselves. They're not really looking for that. I don't think that that generation is looking to do. I don't think they purposely want to just hook up. I think that they've fallen into a cycle that is their best avenue, to just hook up, because nobody wants to change anything. Nobody wants to give in. Nobody wants to be flexible. You got yours, and I got mine. If you ain't got yours, I ain't got time for all that. But I can play with you a little bit over here, and then I'll throw you back in the pond. So they come into a different type of era that has a different type of nuance to it than what we had. Even when we don't have anybody, our era, we still know how to platonically be friends with our male friends. I still go over their mother's homes and still sit and talk with them and chop it up, and I'm asking the other generation, Generation Y. If you're born between 1977 and 1994, you're Generation Y. Okay, give us a call. Let us know how do y'all do this, because I'm not understanding what's going on, and we'd love for you to tell us. I heard Charles in here laughing. Are you laughing in here, Charles? Did y'all hear Charles laughing? Or am I
heard Charles laughing.
Yeah, he laughed.
Like, wait a minute, hold on.
I heard that man's voice.
Okay,
man's voice.
Guess what? God is good. We actually have a caller on the line, and I'd like for them to introduce themselves. Tell us your name, sweetheart, and tell us what age you are, so we know which generation you're representing.
Hello.
Hello.
This is Eric and Dr. Shakisha Halleck, and
we
are 40 plus.
Thank you. Yes. Hey guys, how are you?
We're doing good. How are you?
We're doing great. And I know y'all got something to say, because y'all are a married couple in these rough days. So y'all, I know y'all got something to say and leave with the people out here. What first of all, what is your favorite era, and tell me why?
Well, I guess when it comes to the music,
Just the 90s.
I think
90s.
I like the 90s, 80s. I mean, my favorite band is Earth, Wind, and Fire. Come on, you know.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I hear you.
Yeah.
I like the 80s, the 80s and the 90s. I think back then it was honestly music. There wasn't like a lot of disrespect, and you can actually understand what they're talking about, and you can connect with it. These days, a lot of the music that's out, I have no idea what they're saying, and I have difficulty with it because I have no idea. I'm like, what are they saying? It's just a lot of noise.
No, I hear what they're saying. They're saying too much sex. That's what they're saying.
Yeah.
Or they're repeating the same word over and over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
True. I mean, I guess I'm the ballad guy because I love Luther Vandross, you know, and the Teddy P's and the Barry White.
True romance.
Yeah, I hear, yes. Oh my goodness, that is definitely, especially the 70s. Most of my cousins are 70s babies, and that is one thing about their generation that I just really totally admired. Everything was about romance. All the songs were all about, I don't know how I'm going to make up to you. I don't know how to get you. Can you explain this? Can I learn this? And it was all about romance. And I think you guys had the best romantic era there is ever, honestly, because that was just fantastic. You can't beat those songs. Those songs are still classics right now. Today.
Even today, you still remember the words. You still connect with it, you know. But the stuff today, I just can't wrap my head around it.
Well, guess what? I told y'all God is good. We got a millennial on the line. Just bring them on in, Charles. Just bring them on in.
How you guys doing
Hello, caller.
Yes, hi. How you doing?
I'm fantastic. What's your name?
My name is David Dean.
Hi, David. How are you?
I'm good. I honestly, I would just like to say I partially agree with what you said about the millennials' music. A lot of music about what you hear today. It's a lot of mumbling. It's not a lot of, you know, expression about, you know, what's going on in today's world.
No storytelling.
A lot of what we do listen to is a lot of 90s music. You got to think about it. A lot of R&B. You have Drew Hill, Jagged Edge, Jodeci, Total. So even Keith Sweat. Some of us would even go back to, you know, Gerald Levert. Bill Bev LeVeaux. You know. And even when it comes to rap music, you know, a lot of rap music back in the day is still prevalent to what you have now, like Tupac, Ice Cube, Ice-T, Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg. It's all what you see in today's music about police brutality and police violence and stuff like that. So a lot of that, you know, carries over into today's music. And I think a lot of today's music is just, we listen to it when we go out, we want to enjoy ourselves and go party. A lot of us aren't listening to that 24/7. It's too much, and nobody wants to hear that every single day because it's no substance. Yeah,
I agree.
It's no substance. It's just something to nod your head to while you're going out to have fun.
All right. Now let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this question because this is the one thing that I get into with my sons a lot. Now, if I go pick them up from a party or I happen to roll through or whatever, all y'all do the same dance and y'all sing the lyrics to the song, and there's no individuality with the moves on the dance floor. What's up with that?
I me personally.
I'm sorry to put you on the spot. It was just a question.
No, I understand. Me personally, I can't speak to to all the TikTok dances and stuff like that because I feel like that's the generation after me. The 2000s and up. But because I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 1991. So we're not really dancing, but we are gonna nod our head to it and stuff like that. But I mean, it is a lot of the dancing is just showing individuality. It just they want to show who has the best moves, who's the coolest, and then a lot of them want to get the girls' attention. So I mean, you really can't be too mad at that, honestly.
Okay, but I'm just saying, back in our day, brothers came off the dance floor, they were soaking wet, sweating. Because they were jamming that hard. But they found time, honey, right before you get, everybody went to the car. They found time to get them numbers and talk to you for a minute.
Of course. But the thing about back in the day, the good old days was the good old days. Everything has changed now. It's a different time. And, things are different. Some of them is social media. They don't have to put in too much work. They're going to, what's your Instagram? What's your Facebook? A lot of younger dudes aren't going to do that, and then some of them weren't taught exactly how to do how to talk to women, or what's your number, or how are you doing? They just, you pretty? Can I get your Instagram? And then they just go from there. It's a different time. That's really all it is. It's a different time.
That's pretty easy, y'all. The Hilux. What y'all think about that? That's kind of really easy, ain't it?
Yeah, very easy. So you're basically saying your conversation is based on text.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. Exactly.
Yep.
You don't have telephone conversations until you fall asleep.
Wow.
I don't know. I wouldn't say telephone conversations because eventually you have to take that young lady out and you have to get to know her and vice versa. But if the conversation isn't going nowhere, then it's pointless at that. It's pointless at that point.
So what you're saying is really hard to have conversations now because you said it was pointless.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You guys are missing that.
I will. I don't know if I have another question. I have an issue. You guys, for millennials, for me, there's boundary issues. For an example, see how easy it is to just get someone's Instagram account or their Facebook account. What is this that if I give that to you, then you automatically think that it's okay to dial me on Duo or any of those other things? I didn't say you could call me.
And see, that's why I say a lot of these millennials weren't raised the right way. A lot of them didn't have father figures. A lot of them didn't have men in their lives, so they didn't know this is how you talk to a woman. This is what you do. This is what you don't do. They just do it. They just go off an instinct of, oh, she's pretty, she's beautiful. I want to get her attention. I want to do this, and they don't know that you just have to take your time. Like theoretically, no woman wants a gentleman or wants a guy that's just throwing themselves at her. That's not. Yeah. That's not cool. The way it works. Right. Exactly. So it really just it's a pick and choose battle. It really depends on a guy, and I guess like the younger you go, the less mature you are. Honestly.
Well, with all that, we're not trying to gang up on you or anything, but tell us something that you think that is just absolutely fantastic with being a millennial.
Everything is at our fingertips. I think social media is probably the biggest thing that we have as far as, for example, starting a business, even with like the whole Black Lives Matter movement and, you know, like the police brutality, everything is in the forefront. People are finally understanding that, you know, these cops are, you know, they're not out here actually serving the community. They're harming the community. It's backwards. They're out here killing people. And, you know, technology, it's at the forefront. You can record it. You can post it. Hey, this is what's going on in my community. Let's try to stop that. You know, I think that's probably the biggest difference between, you know, my generation and probably the generations that came before, because, of course, back then you didn't have camera phones and stuff like that. It was no Twitter or no Facebook. So I think now we have to use that to our advantage and try to fix things and correct things in order for us to move forward and try to, you know, bring things together and, you know, do things that I guess our generations tried to do but couldn't really put the icing on a cake, if you understand what I'm saying, you know?
Okay. All right. Well, we talked about women. We talked about the men. We talked about a couple other things. Let's talk about some fashion. Let's take the last 15 minutes to talk about some fashion. Now, I'm from the 80s era, and I will have to say, hands down, we had the worst fashion ever. Anytime you got to put a condom on your eye, that's it. Okay, we're done. That's it. But we were very creative during that time, and we were allowed to just do anything the way we wanted to, and it showed. It showed. Okay. Life was our canvas, and where I see that millennials, basically, art seems to be all over your body. We use clothing as art. We didn't permanently do anything to ourselves. So we were able to leave that behind us and move into a better era with some better clothes. So, Hilux, what do you think about that?
I think in the 80s, a lot of the 80s fashion is coming back around. Like, if you notice,
it is.
You know, like with, you know, some of the younger guys, the skinny jeans, the high top fades, the parts in their hair, a lot of, you know, thick gold rope chains. A lot of women are wearing, you know, wigs and colorful dresses and colorful heels and stuff like that, which is, you know, it's not a bad thing, you know. So I just think, you know, history does repeat itself. Yeah, exactly. But I guess as far as, like, you know, the art and expression on your body, kind of got to think about who was prevalent in the 80s as far as expression. Now, of course,
they had tattoos, but their tattoos were more hidden.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't shown, and I think that's because of how you guys were raised. I don't. Of course, I don't know everybody's background, but you know, I'm pretty sure that some of you guys, if you had tattoos, you had to keep them hidden from your mom, you know, and your father, because you didn't want them to know that, you know, y'all had them. Now,
moms and dads got more tattoos than y'all. So, Tim, you're a little lost in the sauce back there. What you got to say?
Oh, I'm just listening and taking it in because I want to hear how the millennial sees it. I want to hear more. Is the couple still on? Because you know, there's just so much. I'm just trying to take it all in because I have a millennial daughter. So when I hear what he's saying, I'm like, okay, I get this from her. And he has a lot of insight. I'm really impressed with how you are representing.
Very well. Yes, you are.
Yeah, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. It's just I just think that was a real disconnect from probably like the generation in the 90s, because when you think about Tupac, like if you were a man, what, like, if I ask you guys, when you hear the name Tupac, what does that, you know, bring to your mind?
Revolution, freedom, and speech.
Exactly. Yeah. A lot of, you know, the older generation, they didn't hear revolution, Black Panther Party, you know, trying to change the world. They just heard of, you know, the lyrics that he was talking about. They never cared about the message that he was trying to portray. And I think that's what a lot of the disconnect comes from, like, even today. Like, you know, it's rappers like Nas. He was, you know, he came out like late 1996 talking about, you know, the same thing Tupac was talking about until this day. He's like in his late 40s, and he's still talking about the same thing today.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm going to give you one more, because KRS-One, he talked about revolution. And the things that he spoke about, because I'm from New York, now knock it off, we weren't that bad. Because the brothers back then were actually talking about what they're speaking about to this day. Because most of the rhymes that you guys are listening to and the lyrics that you are trying to portray and comes from the old school. And those brothers talked about that. KRS-One was truly a revolutionary type of rapper, and he brought it to the forefront of what was actually going right now with, you know, whoop, whoop, it's the sound of the police. Y'all remember that one? Yeah. And we still, to this day, when we hear that sound of the police, we're not sure if we're going to get shot in the chest. We're not sure if they're going to arrest us for no reason. We're still scared of that sound. So even from then to now, it is still present in our lives. So yes, we do pay attention to it because we lived it too.
Yeah, look how persecuted NWA was when they came out with theirs, talking about the West Coast issues. Yeah.
So I think it's like certain people, certain parents, especially, you know, parents of color, they have to understand that it is a lot of artists that aren't too different from what, you know, the artists of back in the day was doing. Like, you have a Kendrick Lamar, you know, you have a J. Cole, I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about Drake. Drake is even, you know, Kanye West is still, you know, even Jay-Z. I mean, they are all trying to, you know, speak knowledge and, you know, what is going on the forefront of music. And some people just don't want to hear that, which is unfortunate.
Right. You that was part of the Generation X. That's part of the highlight generation. You guys comment on what you think about the era of your music and what it pretty much represented to you.
Well, see, I don't know if I can say my era of music. Thank you. I don't know if I can say my era of music is the 90s or if it's like the music that I hear now. Because the music that I hear now, it isn't good. It's just something that you know, you have some, you know, you go out and you just have fun to, like Future and I don't even know. I can't even think of anybody that comes off the top of my head. Like probably Young Thug or something like that. These are just people that they don't necessarily make good songs. They make good music. Right. What I mean by that is it's no substance. It's just something that sounds good. People are going to nod their head to it. And, you know, that's it. But, of course, you know, that's why I keep talking about the 90s. You had substance, you had good music, you had songs, a lot of music that came from back in the day, rap or R&B. It's a classic. You can still play that till this day, and it still has some type of meaning towards what's going on now, even if it's your love life or your relationships or something like that. You can still listen to a Drew Hill or Brian McKnight, you know, Jack Edge and stuff like that, and still get the feeling of, you know, being a grown-up and trying to figure a relationship out. Now you just have Chris Brown.
Well, the difference is that there was storytelling and there was emotion. See, people were more in touch with their emotions of how they felt about something.
There was a lot of begging, too.
There was a lot of begging. Because you know why? Because they had to do way more work. Now, he just told you all he had to do is get your Instagram and your Facebook. You know, back then you had to get them digits, and you didn't even that phone number. You didn't even know if that number was going to be right. You had to put in some work to get that. Okay.
You might have been calling Pizza Hut. You never know.
You got that right. You got that right. Oh my goodness. So as far as Tonja, let me ask this question for you, because you're from New York and then you came here to Baltimore. What was it as far as music of a difference from when you were in New York and when you were here?
Oh, my God, I was confused. I didn't know whether or not to get on the floor and why D.C., the go-go music was the first one that I heard because I went to D.C. first to go out, and the go-go music was, I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't like it. And then when I came to, as I call it, Be More Careful, they were using lyrics that confused me when they told somebody to beat somebody with a bat. I was very confused what was going on. And then I realized this is the music. It was faster. There wasn't any storytelling anymore. And then there wasn't any house music. And then, when I found places that played house music, it was after-hour places. And it didn't do the same type of house music that I was used to listening to in New York. So it was definitely a culture shock for me, and it took a long time before I surrendered into it. And then I finally just surrendered into it because I was living here, and this is what I had to listen to.
Okay. Hi, Lex, where are you from?
Me?
I'm from Orlando, Florida.
From Florida. And what can you tell us about Florida and their music?
My goodness. The music here, it's kind of, it's hard because when you're in Florida, you have a whole, I want to say a conglomerate of people from all over the world that are kind of gathered in the area. So you can hear wide variety depending on what side of town you're on. You might hear a lot of rap music. You might hear a lot of R&B. You might hear a lot of country music. So
and Latino music is popular in Florida.
Yes. Absolutely.
Excuse me, ladies. I hate to interrupt, but I do have to go. But I really thoroughly enjoy talking to you guys. Honestly, if we could have another conversation, about this, if you guys want to, talk about it in further detail, I really did enjoy talking to all of you who are on the phone. This was a great conversation, and I hope you understood exactly a millennial standpoint of everything that we talked about.
Yes, I think you represented them very, very well. We're very proud of you.
Very well spoken. Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Thank you. I'll talk to you soon.
Yeah, I think that's what I wanted. I wanted to have a little fun tonight, and that definitely was fun. And I will say that there are some more things that we can actually talk about in regards to this. So we are going to come on back next week because I know some people kind of got on a little late tonight. So make sure that you go to loveradionetwork.com, listen to the show as a repeat on it's 24-hour show. And then you can also come on back again next Wednesday at 9 p.m. and we're going to pick up where we left off, and hopefully we'll have some other people come in. I'm going to try so hard to get somebody from the 40s, 50s, and 60s to actually come on in and say something because they didn't represent for their area yet, so we really want to make sure that they can do something like that as well. So, but in wrapping everything up, I want to say stay tuned for Ladies Night tomorrow, which is Thursday. Starting us off is Kimberly Renee at 7 p.m. with Kiss of Life. Then I'm back on again at 7:30 with A Single Woman's Love, and we're going to be showcasing a Mr. James Martin IV. He's Newtown High's principal. He's going to talk about his new biking group that he has for health for individuals out there and how he thinks COVID's going to be affecting future schooling. Then at 8 o'clock, we have Tonja Maynard, Naturally Me, Naturally Free, and our very own Stellar Award nominee, Miss Nina Taylor, at 8:30, rounding up Ladies Night with a Gospel Express. For all of those who have called in today and those who have participated in this show, I want to say thank you for being able to show up. You spoke well, eloquently, and can't wait to have more conversation next week. Please watch out Saturday at 11 a.m. Check out Man Cave Dialogues with Eric Yarborough and Uncle Cliff. Now, if you have a topic you would like to have on Couch Chronicles or know a well-deserving business owner for a Single Woman's Love show, please feel free to contact me at shurt83@gmail.com. That's shurt83@gmail.com. We'd love to hear from you and to see what you guys would like to hear us talk about going forward. Happy birthday to all our cancers out there. We hope that you stay safe, and we're going to see you next week on Wednesday at 9 p.m. for more Couch Chronicles. Thank you, and we love you to death. See you next week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Good night.